Should you ever trust anyone with your secrets? Lena.
Should you ever? Never should I ever.
So that means that direction. When someone tells you something in confidence and they say don't tell. But then I always feel you as the person who's saying the thing shouldn't be saying it in the first place to that person. Because when you tell them don't tell, you don't trust them.
Of course, when you tell them don't tell, but there are sometimes you just want to tell someone.
When you tell me don't tell, you already feel like I'm going to tell. So I always tell people, I say, let your partner or your wife or your husband be your confidant.
But don't you think that even in relationships people spill out things? I just feel it has to do with a level of maturity, because there are lots of people out there that are not mature. You can imagine you telling me something, maybe we're partners and we're sharing a story, and then tomorrow you come up with it and say, that time that you told me this, that conversation you had with me and you said this, your family is this, and then in your head you're like, oh goodness, what have I done?
Local stories, global insights. This is the OyaGistme Podcast.
Life totally gets boring when there's no gist to keep you going. My name is Chinedu.
And I am Meglina Otu.
Together we're your hosts for the OyaGistme Podcast, where we'll bring you local stories
with global insights.
Today on the show, we have a very interesting topic. It's something that you all can relate to. But give us an hint if you know in the comment section. It's secrets. We're just talking about secrets. It's not just. We're going to be highlighting a very long, strong conversation regarding secrets. Like, should you ever trust anyone with your secrets? Lena.
Should you ever? Never should I ever.
But that means that direction.
Because this is actually...
Is trust even something to consider? First off, before sharing your secrets, what's your weighing on trust?
No, of course. For me, when it comes to trust is something you should consider. It's something very vital. It's one of the major things I take or I look at. If I have a friendship with someone or a relationship with someone, the first thing I look at is trust. I have to make sure I'm comfortable with you and my information's received with you. Even though I know at some point you can't really trust a lot of persons with your vital information. But even at that, I've actually tried it, Yeah, I've tried it. I test I test loyalty or trust, to friends and then people that are very close to me. And then when I tell you something, I want to watch you do your thing.
Yeah.
Let me catch you one day. Are you say somebody now said this or somebody and I'm there. I know. Person. Yeah. So I just pick my answers from conversations I have with you, and then the things I tell you, my vital informations I've told you, and then I draft all my questions. I'll be like, okay, next time I will tell this person this, and I will never tell you. You use it as an example while we're talking, or while in conversations with me. In person, you now bring up something and be like, hey, that time you told me this thing about that thing. Yes, it has happened. Yeah. And I'll be like, you see, I told you something about myself, or I told you a story about something, and you're using it in this conversation to attack me. Meaning, I should stop telling you my secrets, or stop telling you vital information about myself. Yeah. So, for me, trust is one thing I hold dear to my heart, because I need to know, if conversing with this person, or if this person is my friend, I have to hold you ransom to particular things. Fine. Am I sure my things are safe with you? My info, my secrets, or stories, and all of that.
But at that moment, does it put you in a space where you're now weighing what you say and what you don't say?
Of course. So I do that a lot. I do that a lot with friends, with family. In fact, even with family, I do that. There's a particular person in my home I might tell something to, and I can't tell the next person because I know if I tell this one, before I know it, go say, hello, Afa, I beg you. Lena told me this thing. I trust you. That's what I'm telling you.
But that's the space where they betray private conversations.
Exactly. That's where people actually betray private conversations, and people don't know. You tell me how far now. See, it's because I trust you that I'm telling you this story.
And then tomorrow,
don't tell it to another person. Let me know here. And then the next person will not go and tell another person. We all have people we trust, and we trust that that we want to tell things to.
So I always felt like when you say something and then you add that tag, don't tell someone else. That's when they get itchy.
Trust.
I feel like that's when they get itchy to start sharing. So there's always so there's a way I go around it. I say it because I weigh the options and I know it won't trigger anything, first of all. I mean, as humans, we get itchy to tell something.
Yeah,
but then again, you weigh what you want to say, and then you find a balance to see if it affects the other person or not. And if it doesn't, share. So I feel like if someone tells you something and they don't say don't tell, I mean, bruh.
So what's your take on that? If the person doesn't say don't tell.
So I feel like if the person doesn't say don't tell, then it's like, you know this stuff already. Do you have any need to want to share with someone else? Because there has to be a conversation why you need to bring that up in the first place.
But do you think even if you tell somebody don't tell, the person will not tell?
No, I mean, I'm not saying the person won't tell, but I'm saying you need to weigh what you're about to say. That's why I always say watch what you say most times. Because you can be in a space where there's you're in the heat of the moment, and then you really want to share, but then you sit back and think through why you should say that thing in the first place, how it is related to what the conversation is at that particular point in time, and then go back on how it affects the person you're about to share that story. Because we live in a world where people now share things comfortably on their social media page. Now let's come back to, you run a blog, and then you come online and you tell me, hey, this thing happened. And then tomorrow I see you on a blog and you're spilling what you told me not to tell everybody. Bruh,
quite funny.
at that moment, it's not like that.
It's no longer private. It's no longer a secret.
So, I feel like we make that mistake in today's world where people are now desperate to be social media content creators, and then they start spilling things themselves. And then tomorrow when you say it in public, they come for you and they're like, why did you say it? And you're like, bro, you don't talk for your podcast. You don't already talk about the stream now. So that's why I say all this and say, I mean, if they're not saying don't tell, then if you want to share, have a reason why you're sharing and weigh the reasons why you have to share it in the first place. That brings us to, people betraying conversations, literally related. When someone tells you something in confidence and they say don't tell. But then I always feel you as the person who's saying the thing shouldn't be saying it in the first place to that person. Because when you tell them don't tell, you don't trust them.
Of course, when you tell them don't tell, but there are sometimes you just want to tell someone.
When you tell me don't tell, you already feel like I'm going to tell. May tell. So I'm a sucker for don't tell in the first place unless you share a particular level of closure with that person. So I always tell people, I say, let your partner or your wife or your husband be your confidant.
But don't you think that even in relationships people spill out things? Yeah, because you could tell.
That's why I say your partner.
Your
that
partner,
moment, they are now your legal partner.
Let's just say, okay,
fine.
Don't tell your girlfriend. Sometimes, even when you're married, you notice your partner or your partner uses information you've told
that's why
told her against
those
you.
Those persons are babies.
So I think it has to do with maturity. Yeah.
But not everybody who presents themselves as mature is mature upstairs. I mean, we all
very
know.
correct. Yeah. Like for me, I just feel it has to do with a level of maturity, because there are lots of people out there that are not mature. You can imagine you telling me something, maybe we're partners and we're sharing a story, and then tomorrow you come up with it and say, that time that you told me this, that conversation you had with me and you said this, your family is this. And then in your head you're like, oh goodness, what have I done? Why did I even spill this thing out to this person, So I think it has to do with a level of maturity. I think people should be more mature out there to be able to hold information to themselves, because there are sometimes as a person, even though this is at some point in your life, you just want to share out something. Yeah. There's something that's holding you want to just confide in somebody about. And then you feel, come on, I think I trust this friend of mine. We've gone a long way. And I feel she tells me her things.
That's why you have to have a level of trust with them.
She tells me things I haven't spilled out. And I believe that if I tell her this thing, it's going to stay. That's our little way of keeping things to ourselves. Well, I think it has to do with serious or high level of maturity to be able to handle that.
Aside maturity, I feel like it has to do with the level of time of knowing someone. You can know someone for 2 years, 3 years. So I feel like the time frame you've known them, you've been able to establish a strong bond with them, enough to know what breaks them and what keeps them going. And in knowing that most times words hurt, so you're careful not to use what they told you against them, to an extent. So, and then I always feel like, don't say things because you want to break someone, or because you feel like if you say it, you're having a problem at that moment. I mean, to be honest with you, there are things my staff told me that I've never used against her. And we're aging, we're getting older. And every single time we have issues, I never bring it up because I knew that was something she told me at her weakest
Yeah.
So I always feel like people should, observe a person, learn to know them in and out, and beyond before you go spill.
While I brought maturity into this, I'm sure a lot of us out there are guilty of this.
Yeah.
While growing up, while your children coming up, at some point somebody would have said something and you went to gossip there, and then the thing now get casted, and you're not put in the media and be like, Shebi, I told you this.
So back then,
Shebi, I told you this, and I said she not touch me. She should not take it, and you went to take it. Here you get.
I was guilty of that growing up. I was guilty of too. We had this neighbor back then. I was there. He was always peeing in the bed. This boy would pee on the bed, and then he would push his brother towards the angle of the bed, and then he'd tell his parents that the boy was his brother that peed. So then one time in school, and he said, "Dad, he did something." I said, "What happened?" He said, he peed on the bed, and he told his parents that his brother did it. And I said, "Oh, okay." And then one time we were having an argument. You know how children in school we fight over crayon,
pencil, little thing eraser.
And then he had said, and I said, "You ate a piece of bed."
And carry your brother. That's casted.
I mean, but at that time, I feel like I needed to get home and then weigh the embarrassment I put him through. Despite the fact that we're younger.
Yeah, you felt guilty.
I felt guilty, and I did apologize actually. And funny how we're still friends. Primary school, we're still friends.
It's children now.
And we share.
That's why I actually said at some point, it's a level of maturity because you outgrow something.
The thing is,
you learn while growing
then,
up.
We didn't really see the importance of, and nobody knew it was a big deal. I mean, secrets was. Are you kidding me? I'm very young, but we won't go keep secrets for you. So it takes us to. I mean, why do people betray private conversations so easily? So I feel like people betray private conversations so easily because, you share something with someone private and then there's a fallout. See what's happening on social media right now. You have people telling on people.
VDM and they do saga, you told me. And okay, there was actually something VDM said. Yeah, and he said, when Edu met me for the first time, he was already telling me something about somebody. And then that was when I now knew that this dude, I was like, come on, what's going on?
It's like you're outing someone because of what they told you in confidence. And then because I feel like it's social media clout to an extent. Because it's now time to read on this person's parade, and then of course why not just bring it up and say.
Because the thing is, on the other hand, I had to weigh those informations. Like, okay, fine. But the first time Edu saw me, he was telling me this.
Why would anybody tell you?
And then on the other hand, I was like, if truly Edu allegedly did that, then on his own part, he's faulty. Yeah. If people had come out to say, oh, fine, he did this.
Not to forget, there was a time someone had said Edu had said something also.
A lot of people came out, but on that path, I think it should be a breakdown.
You think it's
a breakdown or a fault? Yeah.
You think it's one of the things that led him to resign at some point?
And for me, I just feel,
like, of course, shared too much.
Of course, no, minus sharing too much. Okay, I think because he works for an organization, you get, and it now means that your guest secrets are no longer safe with you. It's just more like this person trusts you enough for you to talk to them and they come on the show. Or for them to even meet you to say, oh, fine, I want to show myself, I want to be on your show. They trust you so much to be able to spill out some information, the private information about them. So I feel at some point, the organization has to be secured, they have to save their name. So one person cannot bring them down with his or her attitude or his personality as a whole. So I think maybe that's why he had to. Because people were already calling out honest bunch already, and all of that. So I think with that, even if it's your organization, you want to step back to be like, of course, it's a money making place in as much as you're dishing out entertainment, and you have to really secure that place. And I think it's already a threat for people because I heard somebody saying, on my any podcast now, we invite you, come. Not our own, no. Please, if we invite you, let me not say, please, I beg, show up, please, we're begging. No, someone has said, this one will say, any podcast we come, I know they go because I'm not even. Exactly. I know that what I'm supposed to say or what I'm going to say there is not even saved with people. They might spill it out one day, to the general public.
Have you ever had someone leak your secret though?
At some point,
it's
think
it's quiet.
At some point, it would have happened.
It would have happened.
There are times I've told people things.
Probably overlook.
Yeah, I told people things and it came back to me.
Yeah.
Exactly like,
Did it hurt? Did it break you though?
Of course it broke me down. Because it's more like, oh, I had a level of trust, on you, and then you broke everything.
And then you went and spilled.
I had to just go back into my shell. That's why it had to, at that time, when I was growing up, I found it difficult to talk.
Yeah.
Even my parents, my mom will be like, when I want to ask for something, she knows. She reads me so much. I don't know how to talk to people.
Yeah.
So I don't have to go out. Like, the moment I stand out, she's like, hey, what is it you want to say?
Because
she already knows, because I don't know how to talk. I find it difficult. In my head, I'm already processing, if I say this, what will this person think? Or that. So I find it difficult to even share what's going on with me to another person. So I seldom get those things like betrayals, because I don't know how to share. But at some point, there are things I have shared with even people like, okay, fine, let me try it and start coming out of my chair. And it came back to me.
So it's like, no. What's your take on sharing private conversations?
Sharing private conversations.
Because for me, I feel like if you're going to share private conversation, let there be a reason why you're sharing.
See, some people don't even have a reason. Some people just want to gossip. Some people, it's because you hurt them, they want to get back at you and they share your private information. So it's not about having a reason. Some people don't even have a genuine reason why they're sharing that, I don't know. It just
doesn't sit well with
crazy.
you.
It doesn't sit well.
Because I feel like most times
sharing somebody's private, yeah.
I feel like work related, you can actually share conversation as long as it has to. So generally, we're not killing the idea of sharing private conversation.
No.
If it's work related and it's something you have to screenshot that person's conversation share to the other person, so you boost work environment, fine, why not share?
No, that's a different scenario.
When
we're talking about breach of privacy, breaking the breach of privacy, like vital information.
Like currently online, there's a Caroline Danjuma and what's the other girl, the Sophia
Momodu's just going on their Real Housewives.
Where screenshots are flying around, somebody's saying something and it's currently trending on the internet, and it's like, I trusted you not to have this conversation with you, and then at the end of the day, you're putting this out there.
You're already putting it out there to the general
public. So do you agree that it breaks the level of friendship, the bond?
It does.
The friendship.
It does. It breaks the law.
And it's women.
What's that? No, men do that too.
Well, we'll dive into the comment section.
Exactly, men do that too.
So, Tochi from Big Brother Nigeria took to his social media handle and said, nowadays, guys are the ones that kiss and tell. Ladies just act like they have never seen you before.
My gender, now we're saved, So the blames don't have to go. Don't have to come to us all the time.
In a way, I feel like, so what people don't know, my apologies to the male side of Earth. Men gossip. I feel like so many persons don't know that men gossip, but men tell.
They do.
Men talk.
Kiss and tell.
So, but we don't do it to spite anybody. I just feel it's like a normal guy. Guys don't really take it that deep. To them, it's something normal. It's like, you have a normal because like, hey, guy, that babe flying, that if you see her hips, and then to you, it's not something you didn't, a woman wouldn't want to share. It's like, she's giving you everything, and then you go out and you have that conversation with your fellow guys, and then you're spilling things that you shouldn't be spilling. So it makes her uncomfortable to an extent. But the point is, men don't really see it as being a gossip or telling on the other side. For us, it's just basically.
Are you sure? Are you sure it's just such conversations? We ladies are used to men talking about this.
Right.
But I think for Tochi to have said this, but make men kiss and tell. I think it's coming from a different angle and coming from different info. It's not just if we talk about the ladies spilling the ladies kind of thing. We ladies are used to it. We know that's what most guys do. That babe. We know it's coming from the guy. So for me, I think it's something different. It should be almost close to what's happening with the ladies. My gender, we are quick to talk. Yeah. That's one thing with us, actually. Especially when we're hurt, especially when you do something, our mouths, they shake, sharp. We just want to spill out to something.
Relating to this, today not to his post and said, if she forgives you, then 30 minutes later, she comes back angry again and giving you that witch attitude. That means she don't go tell her group of friends for their group chat, and the board of directors did not agree. So it's like,
what's your
So, say this guy and this girl are having they're having problems, and then they make up, and then she goes back and she shares that same story, whatever had happened transpired between she and a guy with her friends, and then they have an entire different conversation around it, and then she comes back and she's still pissed.
No, of course you should have. One thing with others, I don't know about others. Let me talk about myself. There are times that you're hurt, you have something. You don't spit it out everybody, because a lot of persons would counter this right now. People will tell me, okay, fine. No matter what, you're not supposed to bring what has happened to you and your private space to the open to discuss with third party. But there are times that there's this one person you confide in when you have issues, even in your relationship, and you feel Omohafa. Babe, look at I'm hurt. This person did this to me. And you just want to hear what your friend has to say. There are some people that are, I don't know, I won't say they are gifted. They're just some people that just know how to calm you down. They know how to, okay, fine, babe, you talk this thing at your fault. But if he has said that thing to you, then it's not nice at all. He's not a nice person. Like, it just gives you this level of calmness. Now, it makes you to relax. Now you can now go over to think. Now when you think about it, and then you're not satisfied.
So you come back.
I get problem for there. That's when you now start seeing. You now come and like, babe, what are you going to eat today?
That's because you know you were the one that fought it.
Because you now know that yes, you have a fault in it, even though he said some hurtful words to you. But you now know that it's possible what you had said triggered him to saying what he said to you. So that's the time you now come back to want to make up.
So going back to the conversation on secrets, do you think one of the reasons why people no longer share what they go through is because they don't trust people out there? Say, relating towards medical sides and then mental imbalance and all that. It's like you have people who are going through a lot and they don't know how to share because they feel if they tell you their problems, you will go spill out there. Do you think this is the point where therapists are now our go-to?
Yes, that's when therapists are now our go-to persons, because it's true. You confide in somebody thinking, oh, this person can cover me up with your medical issues. Tomorrow you're hearing it out there. Everybody already knows. You already have this stigma already, like
going on with
what's happening?
There's more.
People start running away from you and you start asking yourself, what's the problem? I didn't tell anybody. Who knows? You don't know, so now the person really close to you, so don't speak them. So at this point, I think that's why people go for therapy. Yeah, people just go to therapy and they feel they can talk to you.
You can tell your
exactly, you can tell your secrets, you can tell your personal, because
and they won't tell on you because their job does not allow it.
Their job doesn't allow it, and they've been
so you think we're agreeing that one of the best ways to eradicate secret telling is going to a therapist?
We always go to a therapist.
That's the thing.
We have a fight with your friend and move to a therapist. That's the problem.
But at the end of the day, that's what the therapist is there for. Listen to your problems, find a solution for you, and then prefer.
But what about those that cannot afford the therapist? Because you're not going to go for.
So then we have to get used to people telling our just
exactly, guys. So you just have to maybe mind what you tell to people. I think you need to be conscious this time around to work on yourself. Okay, fine. Even if it itches you to say, try as much as possible.
I mean, we're not saying you shouldn't tell us your secrets in the comment section. If you've had someone who spilled your secret on you, share in the comment section.
Please share your experience.
Tag them boldly if they still exist or you're still friends with them. When you're not friends with them, tag them in the comment section. Let's hear.
At this point now, the question now should be, who do you tell your secrets to? Who do you think? No, is it just going to a therapist? Like, should you tell to friends? Should you tell to family? Should you tell to partners? Or nobody or somebody? Come on, maybe you should tell us what you think about this.
Trust with you in your life. There's only someone in your life you trust enough to want to share. Don't you think so?
That's what I think too.
There's someone.
There's someone you're very comfortable with.
Who is it for you?
Let me say my younger sister.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think I'm hers too.
Oh, okay.
Whatever she goes through, she calls me. So, okay, fine. I just want to talk to you about this. So she knows, yes, it's going to stay. And there are things I run to her to be like, okay, you know what? This thing happened, blah, 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 blah. She listens and she talks to me and I become calm. She's just my go-to person.
Now, religious-wise, the Catholic Church gives you room to tell your
confessions
to the priest. Now, have you ever been in situations where you said something during confession and the priest came up the altar the next Sunday and then you're what you don't even confidence?
I've actually never been. I've actually never been. Are you serious?
I am.
Are you serious about that?
Yeah, I have.
I've actually never been in that situation. And it's part of fear.
Yeah.
There are times that you've done something you want to confess to this priest. In your mind. I won't lie, sometimes it comes up.
Yeah.
With me, I'm just trying to tell you mine.
Yeah.
It comes up and I'm like, hey, I come and do this thing. I tell them. Now the same priest. I mean, not go there, guy. If I say another priest, I prefer going to a new priest all the time. That's what I do. No, me, that's what I do.
Back then
because even if I meet this priest, I'm like, oh, fine. the priest might not say it out because what do that might be no. At one point, if it happen, even if I believe, say, religious wise, it might not really happen because they are trained to do that. You know, they are really exactly. It shouldn't happen. Yeah. But with me, I look for a new priest all the time, and I can't go and confess my sin to my friend that is a priest. Sorry about that. If you're watching this, I know it because I'm like, come.
Because I don't
in my own head, you see, I'm just the only person calculating because I'm like, okay, if human beings can do this,
imagine.
So what will not happen? I know you're trained to do that because you know it leaves you with your conscience because by the time you do that as a priest, it holds you because of course you've gone above what you're trained to do. Yeah. You have to even go and confess to God and be like, God,
but you know they don't necessarily call your name or so, but they
no, they won't call your name. No, it just brings up a story. And then talks about, but what if really that priest wasn't talking about you?
Well, so that's the thing.
It's possible he wasn't referring to you.
At the end of the day, it still comes back at you having said what you said and it finding its way to the pulpit. So you think you can't be sharing the same problem with 2 or 3 persons. Well, guys,
goodness.
I mean, if you've ever had your secret spill before, come to the comment section and share.
Let's know
who told on you, who you told something that hurt you to today, and the person spilled. You know. It's part of the conversation. Do always share your ideas. We're going to wrap up and then let's just stop. Let's conclude on. So I think we've agreed that people should hold. Do we go with people should keep their secrets to themselves?
At some point, you want to keep your secrets to yourself. But if you notice your things are always popping up and then everybody gets to know about it, you should check yourself. And
check your circle of friends.
Yeah, check your circle of friends and mind what you spill out to people.
And who you say it to. And do you agree some secrets should die with you?
Of course, yes. Yes, I think so.
So someone should suffer in silence with what they have.
Not really suffer in silence. Learn to Kai, I don't even know what to say. You guys just say something, please.
Alright, and that's all we've got for you guys today on OyaGistme Podcast. My name still remains Shinididigo.
And I'm Medina Otu.
Don't forget to like, comment, and share. And leave your thoughts in the comment section. Bye for now.
Ciao.